Before religion existed, fear already existed. Fear came first. Long before the churches, the temples, the crosses, the sacred books, and the prophets, there was a frightened animal looking up at the sky without understanding absolutely anything. Thunder seemed like rage. Disease seemed like a curse. Death seemed like an impossible error to accept. Before anyone prayed, someone trembled. Before anyone believed, someone was afraid. And maybe that is the most important point about God. Belief did not begin with wonder. It began with terror. Human beings did not create religion because they found answers. They created religion because they could not bear questions. Why does something exist instead of nothing? Why are we born? Why do we suffer? Why does everything die? The human brain is incapable of facing the void for very long without beginning to invent meaning. So humanity did what it always does in the face of the unknown. It turned ignorance into narrative. And that is frighteningly human. Because when you observe all the religions in history, you notice a sad pattern. The gods always have the emotional face of the people who invented them. Violent civilizations created violent gods. Miserable civilizations created eternal paradises. Patriarchal civilizations created masculine divinities. People terrified of death created promises of eternity. Look closely, and you stop seeing gods. You start seeing mirrors. Every heaven is a complaint about the world that built it. Every paradise is a confession of what its people lacked. Maybe God was never discovered. Maybe he was projected. Maybe we did not look up and find someone watching. Maybe we looked up, found no one there, and could not survive the silence, so we filled it with a face. And here is the question almost nobody lets themselves finish at 3 a.m. If you had been born somewhere else, to someone else, in another century, would you believe what you believe now? Or would you be just as certain about a completely different God? You did not choose your faith. You inherited it the way you inherited your language and your fears. And a truth that depends entirely on where you were born is not a truth. It is an accident wearing a crown. And before someone says, "So you think billions of people are wrong?" Yes, because quantity has never been evidence of truth. Billions once believed the Earth was the center of the universe. Billions believed in astrology. Billions believed that diseases were divine punishments. A lie does not become true because it is crowded. All of humanity can believe a lie for centuries, and the lie does not flinch. Human history is basically that. A long, beautiful, blood-soaked set of stories we agreed not to question. This is perhaps the most offensive sentence in the entire video, and also one of the truest. And here is something stranger still. Everyone is almost an atheist. The Christian looks at Zeus and sees mythology. The Muslim looks at Shiva and sees idolatry. The Hindu looks at Yahweh and sees just another tribal god. The atheist looks at all of them and perceives the same structure repeated infinitely. Deep down, all religions do exactly the same thing. They believe in one specific God and discard thousands of others. And worse, they never actually know the very God to whom they are devoted. They are loyal to a stranger. They would die for a face they have never seen and a voice they have never heard. The difference between a religious person and an atheist may just be mathematics. The religious person rejects 99.9% of humanity's gods. The atheist rejects one more. You have already practiced disbelief your entire life. You're an expert at it. You only stop when the conversation turns to your own God, and then suddenly the rules change. And the most curious thing is to notice that each religion is absolutely certain that the others are wrong. Each people believes it has received the universe's final truth. The Greeks were certain, the Egyptians were certain, the Vikings were certain, the Mayans were certain, the Christians are certain, the Muslims are certain. Every one of them was willing to kill for that certainty, and many did. And every one of them is now studied in a museum or worshipped in a temple, depending only on who won the war and who wrote the book. Religious certainty may be one of the most powerful drugs ever produced by the human mind. It removes doubt without removing the danger. It makes a person feel safe inside a burning house. That is why Karl Marx said, "Religion is the sigh of the oppressed creature, the heart of a heartless world, the spirit of spiritless conditions. It is the opium of the people." Because it transforms doubt into comfort, and human beings prefer comfort to truth almost all the time. Ask yourself honestly, not out loud, just to yourself, when was the last time you chose a hard truth over a soft lie that let you sleep? And then someone shows up saying, "But my God is different." Of course, every religious person thinks that. That is exactly the problem. Every religion considers itself the exception. Every religion believes it possesses the only correct path. Every religion thinks the others interpreted it wrong, mistranslated the message, worshipped the counterfeit. If thousands of mutually incompatible beliefs all claim to possess absolute truth, there are only two possibilities. Either only one is right, and billions of sincere, loving, intelligent people across history were tragically deceived, or all of them are human constructions trying to explain the unknown. And honestly, the second hypothesis seems absurdly more plausible. The faith that feels like destiny from the inside looks like geography from the outside. Maybe no belief would survive if human beings were immortal. Think about that for a moment, because it is heavier than it sounds. Religion grows exactly where death hurts, at the funeral, in illness, in loneliness, in depression, in loss. It does not arrive when life is full, it arrives when life is leaking. When someone looks at their own mother's body inside a coffin, the brain collapses trying to accept that that person, the voice, the hands, the entire universe of a single human being simply ceased to exist. The mind cannot hold it. So, heaven is born, the reunion is born, eternity is born. Not because we found evidence of it, but because the alternative is unbearable. And honestly, it is hard to blame anyone for that. Who would not build a door if the only other option was a wall? But the universe does not care that the wall hurts. The universe is cold. Nature kills without guilt. Time destroys everything it touches and never apologizes. The cosmos has no empathy, no schedule, no sense of fairness. A child dies of cancer while a murderer lives to 90. An earthquake kills thousands for no reason, and there is no reason to find. A gentle person sinks into depression and quietly takes their own life, while cruel people thrive and sleep soundly. And in the middle of this absurd, indifferent chaos, the human being does the only thing it knows how to do. It invents cosmic justice in order to bear staying alive. Hell for the wicked, paradise for the good, purpose for the pain, meaning for the suffering. A divine accountant who will one day balance the books that the real world left bleeding and unbalanced. Religion, maybe that is it. A desperate attempt to negotiate emotionally with death. A bargain whispered to something that never answers. And the silence on the other side of that prayer is the loudest thing a human being will ever hear. And before anyone says, without God, life has no meaning, maybe that is exactly the point. Maybe the universe was not made with human happiness in mind. Maybe it was not made with you in mind at all. Maybe there is no predefined purpose written somewhere waiting to be discovered. Maybe meaning is not found. Maybe meaning is built, fragile, temporary, by hand. Maybe human consciousness is just a brief flicker of awareness in an ocean of unconscious matter. A temporary cosmic accident that learned to ask why and will not get an answer. And that frightens us deeply, because if there is no universal meaning, then no one is coming. No one is coming to fix it, no one is coming to explain it, no one is coming to save us. We have been waiting our whole lives for a rescue that was never scheduled. And here the old problem of Dostoevsky appears. The idea attributed to the moral universe of the brothers Karamazov is more or less this: if God does not exist, then everything would be permitted. This sentence is powerful because it touches humanity's exposed nerve. It does not only ask whether God exists, it asks whether morality survives without an eternal authority watching over human behavior. Because for many people, the absence of God seems to open an abyss. If there is no final judge, if there is no heaven, if there is no hell, if there is no metaphysical punishment, if there is no eternal reward, then why not kill? Why not betray? Why not destroy? Why not lie whenever it is convenient and no one is looking? But this question reveals something much more disturbing about the person who asks it than about the universe they are afraid of. Because if the only thing stopping you from committing atrocities is the fear of being punished, then you are not good. You are just supervised. You are not moral, you are merely obedient. And obedience is not virtue. It is training. A dog also obeys when it fears being beaten. A child also fakes goodness when it fears punishment. A slave also behaves before the whip, but no one calls that moral greatness. So ask yourself the question you will pretend you did not hear. If you knew with absolute certainty that no one was watching and no one would ever find out, would you still be the person you claim to be? The honest answer to that question is the real measure of a human being. Everything else is performance. True morality does not begin when someone fears hell. It begins when someone recognizes the suffering of another as real. I do not need to believe in God to understand that a mother crying over the body of her child is in agony. I do not need a heavenly commandment to know that torturing a child is monstrous. I do not need a sacred scripture to realize that humiliating, abusing, exploiting, and destroying a conscious life produces pain. The minimum basis of morality is not heaven, it is the capacity to suffer. It is the awareness that the other also feels, also bleeds, also fears, also loses, also grows old, also buries the people they love, and will also, one day, die. You do not need a God to be kind. You only need to remember that everyone you meet is afraid of the same darkness you are. If God disappeared tomorrow, human pain would not disappear with him. Rape would still be violence, hunger would still be misery, betrayal would still be a wound that does not close, murder would still be irreversible, final, absolute. The absence of God does not turn suffering into an illusion. The blood is real, whether or not anyone divine is keeping count. And it is precisely for this reason that morality can exist without religion. Because ethics is not born in the sky, it is born in the brutal, unavoidable encounter between vulnerable creatures who can all be hurt and all know it. Dostoevsky was looking at a real problem, the terror of a world without an absolute foundation. But the error lies in imagining that without an absolute foundation, there is no foundation at all. That is false. Morality does not need to be eternal in order to be necessary. Medicine does not need to be eternal in order to relieve pain. Justice does not need to be divine in order to prevent cruelty. Love does not need to be cosmic in order to be devastatingly real. A thing does not need to last forever in order to matter. The candle does not give less light because it will eventually burn out. If anything, it gives more. And this is perhaps the point the religious person fears most, even if they would never admit it. Without God, morality stops being an order handed down from above and becomes a responsibility carried from within, and that is so much heavier. With God, you obey. Without God, you answer. With God, the responsibility belongs to the throne. Without God, the responsibility belongs to your own hands, and there is nowhere to put it down. Without God, there is no heavenly Father waiting to clean up the moral mess of the species. There is no final tribunal that will correct every crime that escaped justice. There is no invisible hand quietly compensating every injustice behind the scenes. There is no metaphysical guarantee that good will win in the end, because there is no guaranteed end, only the one we make. There is only what we do to one another during the brief, flickering interval between being born and disappearing. And that does not make life meaningless. It makes life unbearably, almost violently serious. Because if there is no other world where everything will finally be fixed, then this world is the only one the pain ever gets. Every gesture here weighs more. Every cruelty weighs more. Every abandonment weighs more. Every word you said too late, every word you never said at all weighs more. Every person who broke a little under your indifference and never told you weighs more. Without God, no one is writing your sins in an eternal book, but no one is erasing the consequences either. The hurt you caused does not get refunded. It just stays in the world, quietly rearranging someone's life. And maybe that is the thing people truly cannot bear. It is not that without God, everything is permitted. It's worse than that. Without God, everything is on you. In the old days, God explained everything.
The rain was God, the thunder was God, the plague was God, the eclipse was God, infertility was God, madness was God. Every gap in human understanding was filled with a divine face, because a face, even an angry one, is less frightening than a blank. But as knowledge advanced, God slowly began to lose territory. Science discovered bacteria, and the plague stopped being punishment. It discovered gravity, and the heavens stopped being a throne. It discovered evolution, and humanity stopped being a special creation. It discovered galaxies, and the Earth stopped being the center. It discovered, piece by patient piece, that human beings occupy no privileged place in the cosmos at all. And that destroyed something far more precious than any single belief. It destroyed human centrality. Man stopped being the protagonist of the universe. He became what he actually is, a conscious animal, briefly awake, lost on a wet rock, spinning around an ordinary star among hundreds of billions of stars, inside one ordinary galaxy among hundreds of billions of galaxies. That is profoundly humiliating. And maybe that is why so many people quietly hate science without ever admitting it, not because it's wrong, but because it refuses to flatter us. Science does not promise comfort, it promises reality, and reality is frequently brutal. The sun will die, the earth will be swallowed. Humanity will end. Your name will be forgotten by everyone, including the people you would die for today. Everything you love will end. The entire universe is drifting, slowly and patiently, toward total cold and total silence, a darkness so complete that even the stars will have gone out. We are not the children of the cosmos. We are a rounding error. It will not remember. And then someone responds, well, science does not explain everything either, does it? Of course it does not. But here is the difference, and it is everything. Science admits it. Religion tends to fill ignorance with certainty. Science fills ignorance with investigation. When science does not know something, it says so and keeps searching, sometimes for centuries. When religion does not know something, it usually calls it a divine mystery and asks you to stop asking. And mystery is not an answer. It is a beautifully dressed way of saying, I don't know, while forbidding the follow-up question. One of these methods built the device you are watching this on. The other asked you not to wonder how. But I felt God. I had an experience. I heard a voice. I saw a sign. And maybe those people are being completely sincere. I believe that they felt something. The problem is that sincerity does not transform a feeling into a fact. The human brain is extraordinary and extraordinarily unreliable. It manufactures false memories that feel identical to true ones. It sees faces in clouds, and patterns in noise, and intention in randomness. It bends reality to match emotion, fear, exhaustion, longing, grief. It can be reshaped by trauma, by chemicals, by stress, by simple expectation. And here's the detail that should keep believers awake. People from completely different religions report completely different, equally overwhelming, equally life-changing experiences. The Christian sees Jesus, the Hindu sees Krishna, the Spiritist feels a presence, the Muslim feels Allah, the shaman speaks with spirits, the grieving widow hears her husband in an empty room. They cannot all be describing the same reality, but they can all be describing the same brain doing the same thing in different costumes. A feeling that powerful tells you something is real inside you. It does not tell you what is real outside you. And before someone says it, yes, there are no atheists when the plane is going down. First, that is more of a bumper sticker than an argument. Second, fear has never produced truth. A terrified person will scream anything, beg anyone, promise everything. That does not make the thing they are screaming too real. It only proves what we already know. The human being, cornered by death, will reach for any rope, even an imaginary one. That is not evidence of God. That is evidence of how much we do not want to die alone. The foxhole prayer does not reveal a hidden faith. It reveals a hidden terror, the same one that built every temple in history. Because deep down, maybe the conversation about God was never really about God at all. Maybe it was always about loneliness. The human being is a strange and tragic creature, the only animal we know of that is fully aware of its own death, fully aware of its own smallness, fully aware that everything it touches will end. We love people knowing we will lose them. We build things knowing they will fall. We wake up every morning knowing the count is going down. And maybe no mind can carry that weight fully and consciously for an entire lifetime without inventing something larger to hold it. So we invented purpose. We invented destiny. We invented eternity. We invented the soul. We invented a plan, a watcher, a hand on our shoulder in the dark. Because to look directly at the void, no plan, no watcher, no reunion, no rescue, takes a kind of psychological courage that almost no one has, and almost no one is asked to find. And maybe that is the real reason so few people actually want the truth. They say they do, but what they want is comfort. What they want is hope. What they want is to believe that someone somewhere is paying attention. So they ask the sky for a sign again and again all their lives. And the sky, patient and infinite and indifferent, gives the same answer it has always given: nothing. And maybe the most uncomfortable sentence of all is this one: everyone is already an atheist. Every single person simply chooses which gods to call absurd and which single one to spare from the disbelief they apply so easily to all the rest. The thing you call faith, a billion other people call mythology. The thing they call faith, you call mythology. You are standing in the same museum, just refusing to look at your own exhibit. In the end, all of humanity may be nothing more than a vast crowd of conscious primates, briefly awake on a dying rock, telling each other stories to keep the dark away while time quietly erases all of it. Religions, civilizations, languages, memories, names, empires, monuments, bodies, lives, everything dissolves. The gods we made will be forgotten, exactly like the gods we abandoned. Maybe that is the final unspoken fear underneath all the others. Not that there is no God, but that one day there will be no one left who remembers there was ever a question. So before that silence comes, maybe the only honest thing left to do is to stop waiting for an answer from above and start being the answer to someone here, while there is still time, while it still matters, while you are still awake. You who made it this far are already part of this. This channel is sustained by a rare community, lucid, courageous people who do not run from difficult questions, who would rather sit with an uncomfortable truth than fall asleep to a comfortable lie. If you feel you belong to this place, become a member of the channel. It is the most direct way to keep this project alive, and it also gives you access to exclusive content and conversations that go even deeper than this. To those who are already members, thank you. You are the backbone of all of it. If you would rather support another way, super thanks helps enormously. But simply by watching, commenting, or sharing, you are already part of this. And here, in this place, that matters. Thank you very much.